Hello and welcome as today's date comes in that of Saturday, the first day of February 2020. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, trades of the like within each own risk and their own reward. Binary. Heads or tails, yes or no. There's only two ways about it. Yes or no, that is, the two ways. Either the cryptos work or they don't. If they don't, well, price on Litecoin right now, trading in close to $71 per coin. Well, I mean, pretty much talking about going to nothing, so down to here. And even down to here or whatever, down to zero. If that's one of the two ways. The other ways is that it works. And in time, we have resistance here at 363, but it's going to be broken, and we're going to be testing these new levels. And I like using log scale charts. I always have since pretty much since I started looking at charts. 12,000 is a decent large size break above. 5,000 would be up here. You're talking about how much time it would take. Well, I mean, if we go up to here, this would take us to like almost 2 years if it's all the way in here. And a lot of stuff's going to happen in there. And part of that 11 stuff will be about 22 or 23 months of duration in time. Also, another way of looking at it, we came back down about a year ago, a little over now. That was exactly where it started in price against the fiat US. It's most certainly been making higher lows, especially if this one most recently put in at around 36 holds. But the last high, of course, significantly lower than this one. But it was the first and only attempt Litecoin has had on the weekly term in getting above the 18 average of highs from, of course, the highs near 300. And the complete drop, of course, to the 23. And then the move got up to about 150. And the volatility, of course, it's just big. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden, hey, wait a second, guys. Yeah, the volatility is too big. Yeah, let's make sure Litecoin just stays in a range between like 40 to 120 the rest of the way, because even that's 3 times. No, of course not. And so the amount of return X gains that can include within yourself on big gain or big breakouts is just in that big, and the amount that can be lost, obviously everything at risk. I guess you can say no worries. It's just the way it is. One way of looking at it when you're allocating how much do I invest into cryptos. Well, look at risk reward management. I think is a good idea. You can see, well, what kind of reward gains can I get based on the risk that I place in. And when you do put in lower risk, it makes risk tolerance for these types of volatile moves a little bit easier. Okay, daily chart. I got some key Fibonacci levels. The more longer lines, they represent a 38.2 and 61.8% a point from this high and this low. So on the way up, it first got up to the 23.6 for a little bit. Did not resist actually it did. Excuse me. No, it did not resist the 38.2. It did support it. And then it had a nice move resisting the 136. And now we've had a move resistance up to this point again. Are we going to have a nicer pierce above? Is this even going to be resistance for? A couple sessions ago, it comes up to it on January the 30th. A gain of 13.75% as it breaks out above the 18 average of highs. And then a pause day yesterday, and today it's just continuing to go higher as it's doing so, breaking above the level of resistance. We can also talk about things like as weird and as dysfunctional as the right shoulder, even left shoulder, would be an inverted head and shoulders pattern, with the left shoulder being the start from this decline at the end of September. The finishing of the left shoulder would be the high on November the 10th. And then the fall down here to the head, so the circle shape from November the 10th up to January 17th would be the head formation. And then this second dysfunctional shoulder starting here and then just exiting. And really it's his exitation of the 18th as well 2 days ago. So a lot of good bullish reasons why this, we could have an interesting situation, because when these things go, they can shoot up pretty fast. You also got to keep in mind it is at an area which should be finding resistance at this 68 mark, and it normally pierces extra. It's already done that, and it could pierce more. Meaning we could have further gains up to 79.80, and well, at some point the move from key high to key low is going to end. But at what stage? Would it be where we are? Maybe it's a lower high near 100. Maybe it's a matching high near the 136. maybe it keeps going up and retests all the way up to the previous high at 400, and maybe that doesn't even resist. So to try to say which one it's going to be, I'd have no idea as far as how far this leg higher is going to present itself within. As far as the hourly time frame is concerned, it is kind of interesting though that 10 o'clock in the morning it comes up to this point, and then it really does resist it for quite a decent amount of time, while holding about 66 and a half for that duration. And it left that, last night. So a day and change. And on the breakout, we've had the market not come back to the fib line, but did come back to these two resistance points for where it has been in. And now we're like a few periods in, just starting a new one with 56 minutes left. So a completion of 4 periods of just hanging in there within the 18 average of highs. One attempted breaking out higher, but if it does manage to, if you do see within like the day that it's like over 72, that could be the prospects of like decent moves, like we've seen here, like straight up moves that could break this resistance would not be a surprise. Let's switch it up to the the cross against Bitcoin. Hourly time frame, same sort of deal as far as getting it above here. If you see this get to close to the 77 handle, and most certainly if then we're probably going to have an interesting spot, because on the daily term time frame in here, what I'm seeing is this level of resistance is being tested. But how much further can it go? After all, when these cryptos go, they can have phenomenal moves. But most importantly, it's stage number 4. Stage 1, band flattening out. Right here. Stage 2, establish some resistance, have your correctionary move. Stage 4, break established. There we are, done. Make sure it's noticeable break. Yeah, that's noticeable. All right then, so let's see what's going to happen here as we have an interesting signification. Now again, we're at this level of resistance, major must hold area. Basically 61.8% from whatever this low happens to be into where right now this high in here. But the mathematical prospects, percentage probability odds for any of these prices on the lines where I'm drawing to be filled in a relatively quick period of time is much higher right now than it's been for a while. And when I say that, I mean for the same percentage move. For it to have a 60% move in, say, we'll say 10 days or 20 days, 50 days, 30 days, yes, even 50, would be higher now, I think, than a lot of these other days because of the market conditions right now. And finishing off with a quick look on the Bitcoin charts with the kilo here around 3,000. And just a fantastic move, and that's a decent correction, but it's not that much at all. All of this empty space in here, not filled. Now, empty space, or the retracement from key low to key high, from this low to this high. And that's what we're doing right now. For its break of resistance occurred in here. That's when we had band flattening out, established resistance, come back to support. And since then, it's had one retracement back, coming back to where it came from. If you got stopped out in a play like that, interesting play. Nice correctionary hold, of course, within the lows. And well, since it's been breaking out, you can see as it gets to previous high, it's already had a decent move. But what I like is how it's holding and staying above this little area in here. And really, if it can hold and stay above this, that's just a phenomenal play. If it does break and not hold within the 18, then holding any type of 61.8% move is so massive, meaning the must-hold area here on Bitcoin is around the slot machine number of the 77s. And just like I stated on the outset within the Litecoin, either it works or it doesn't. If cryptocurrencies come into play, probably a lot of other altcoins are going to work as well. Not all of them. In fact, there's probably way too many of them. And It's just a matter of time before we retest, and this is probably not too much time because it's the next one around 13,000, and then you come back and you retest 20, and then you have higher numbers, which was the case in here when it had a rise that went from, well, up to, of course, that 20 number. And right now the indications to me, because of, like I mentioned, oh, it only came down to here, and really only 3,000 for that matter too. It wasn't that big of a price reversal, and it actually filled a lot of this empty space from this low to this high. That's, to me, a lot of bullish indications moving forward. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.